Welcome to my channel. I'm going to review Sports Review Wrestling magazine, April 1987, 1986 year in pictures. So let's start looking. Let's start reviewing. Got the table of contents, of course, and the merchandise for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Got the mailbag. Picture of Road Warrior Hawk working out with a broken leg. The Tattler, where you got correspondence within each area talking about what's going on in that area. Of course, picture Jerry the King Lawler. Inquiring Reporter. This is where the magazine asks a question and then the fans answer. So this question the magazine asked, should the AWA Heavyweight Championship be stripped of world title status? And it just kind of like, this almost seems like one of those, like maybe observer questions. This don't seem like this would be in the Kayfabe magazines. But this is in 87, late 86. And here's some of the answers. The question is, should the AWA Heavyweight Championship be stripped of world title status? And these are some of the answers. This is Jim Massey from St. Paul, Minnesota. Why? Just because they've had a couple of down years? You people fail to realize that some of the greatest champions in history have come from the AWA. Their current champion, Nick Bockwinkel, is a man who has proven himself time and time again. He's one of the legends of the sport. Don't be so fast to jump to conclusions. Give them a chance to get back on track. I guarantee you they will. So just some of the questions. It's just interesting, to hear anything positive about the AWA, but you usually don't hear the negative stuff in a magazine like this. So another person, Ralph Francis from Bethesda, Maryland, says, I assume that you're talking about the Abysmal Wrestling Association, the home of boring wrestling. I know that they've been around for a long time, maybe too long, but they're just yesterday's news. For them to have world title status when the UWF doesn't is just a total joke. The wrestling there is boring and there are no fans at the matches. The AWA is minor leagues with a capital M. So just two different opinions on if the AWA Heavyweight Championship should be stripped of world title status. Okay, Scrapbook, where they just talk about certain times of the year, March, April of 1967, where they're talking about some of the stuff going on then, and then March, April of 1972. And there's a picture of Captain Lou Albano, and in the upper page of Bruno Sammartino and Gorilla Monsoon. Okay, the wrestlers answer questions, and they have the question of the month, where I guess the fans ask the question and the wrestlers will answer it. The question of the month is, should a judge be used to decide the winner of a time limit draw? Some of the people, Ric Flair said, the Nature Boy doesn't need no judge to let him be the best. He's the best. But if some man is lucky enough to survive 60 minutes with the NWA World Champion, he's going to be sorely disappointed when he finds out that he's the loser. Because that's what would happen. Woo, woo, woo. You're talking to the man who dominates professional wrestling, and if they want a judge to decide draws, that's fine with me. I still never lose. And then here's what, I'm not going to read all of them, but here's what Dusty Rhodes says. Let me tell you, baby, the Dream, he thought long and hard about this. He thought all night, and he come up with an answer for you. There are some people out there who go to matches, and when they see two athletes going at it until the bell rings, they walk out happy. Because these men gave it all they got. Judges, they just decide what should be decided in the ring. So if you're looking for an answer, it's no. So that's what Dusty Rhodes think. Colonel De Beers, going to read what Colonel De Beers says. That's just a great idea, Scott, and I'm glad you see things the way I do. Put a white man against anybody, and we all know the way the judge would have to decide. He'd have to realize that because the white man is intellectually and physically superior, the white man would have to win all draws. Having judge to decide time limit draws would further clean up the filth that is threatening to ruin wrestling. So yeah, Colonel De Beers, um, Dick Bockwinkel. I've been in this sport for a long time, and let me tell you this: when two guys get in the ring and give it all they've got for 20, 30, even 60 minutes, there's no winner. There's usually a good reason. It's because they both gave it their all and nobody could gain a clear advantage. For some judge to step in after all that and award the match to one of those men is just not fair. The game was meant to be decided in the ring by the wrestlers. So that was from Nick Bockwinkel. So I always liked this section of the magazine where they had these questions. Okay, back issues, The Wrestler and Inside Wrestling. Wrestler of the Month, Ricky Steamboat. And this was after he made his return after being attacked by Macho Man Randy Savage. This picture of him looks like maybe he was in World Class. I know he had a deal to work for World Class for one time. Okay, 1986 special section, 1986 year in pictures. In January, Michael Hayes body slams Brian Adias as the Freebirds take the world-class six-man title from Adias, Kerry Von Erich, and Kevin Von Erich. Below, Jimmy Garvin desperately grabs for the ropes to escape Curt Hennig's overlapping toe hold, and Scott Hall took the AWA tag team. Hennig and Scott Hall took the AWA tag team belts from Garvin and Regal. One of the most horrifying events to ever occur in wrestling, Chris Adams is blinded by Gino Hernandez. Below, newly crowned AWA World Champion Stan Hansen turns back the tough challenge of Sergeant Slaughter. Above, Gino Hernandez died of cocaine overdose at the age of 28. With the referee down and Dennis Condrey taking care of Robert Gibson out of the ring, Jim Cornette places Bobby Eaton on top of Ricky Morton to give the Midnight Express an NWA Tag Team title victory over the Rock and Roll Express. Following the world-class secession from the NWA, Rick Rude makes his first defense of the world-class heavyweight title against Lance Von Erich. Randy Savage illegally defeats Tito Santana for the Intercontinental Championship. Bruno Sammartino is back in the thick of things, and he and Paul Orndorff battle Roddy Piper and Bob Orton in the cage. March. King Kong Bundy rushes to the aid of manager Bobby Heenan, who pays the price for interfering on behalf of Magnificent Morocco against Hulk Hogan. The end result of the confrontation saw Hogan in the hospital and Bundy with the WrestleMania 2 main event. Veteran Black Bart gives Sam Houston a wrestling lesson and wins the Mid-Atlantic title. Luke Williams drives Steve Williams into the canvas as the Sheepherders win the UWF Tag Team titles from Dr. Death and Steve Williams. Stocked from Dr. Death and Ted DiBiase. Shawn Michaels looks on approvingly as Marty Jannetty twists Playboy Buddy Rose's wrist. The feud between the Midnight Rockers and Rhodes and Doug Summers has begun. April. Greg Valentine is on wobbly legs as he takes a beating from Dynamite Kid. The Bulldogs won the WWF Tag Team titles from Valentine and Beefcake at WrestleMania 2. King Kong Bundy's WWF title hopes are gone with one thrust of Hogan's powerful leg. Most people believe that Randy Savage, not Bundy, deserved the WrestleMania main event. Ricky Morton's face was mangled in a dressing room assault by Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, and Arn Anderson and J.J. Dillon. Sergeant Slaughter disposes of Kamala at AWA Card of the Year, Wrestle Rock 86. The Road Warriors and Paul Ellering were $1 million richer after defeating Magnum TA and Ronnie Garvin in the final round of the first annual Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament. Okay, in the month of May, during a WWF Intercontinental title match between Randy Savage and Tito Santana, Adrian Adonis interfered and referee Bruno Sammartino asserts his authority. Steve Simpson headlocks Buddy Roberts. Simpson, with Kerry and Lance Von Erich, defeated the Freebirds for the world-class six-man titles in Texas Stadium. Terry Gordy power drives Hacksaw Jim Duggan on his way to winning the UWF title tournament. Bob Geigel reprimands Magnum TA and reaffirms that he will not reinstate him as champion after stripping him of the U.S. title. Buddy Rose and Scott Hall mix it up on the ropes as Rose and Doug Summers capture the AWA World Tag Team titles from Hall and Kurt Hennig. Okay, the month of June, Butch Miller's forehead is slashed to ribbons in the barbed wire match between the Sheepherders and the Fantastics, the bloodiest match of the year. Orndorff turned on his partner Hulk Hogan during a match against John Studd and King Kong Bundy. Kerry Von Erich came close to losing his life in a motorcycle accident when Stan Hansen left McNichols Arena in Denver. The AWA World title was awarded by default to his challenger that night, Nick Bockwinkel. The month of July, the Machines invaded the WWF, but the fans gave them a mixed reaction at best. Chris Adams headlocking Rick Rude wins the world-class title from the Ravishing One in Dallas. World-class fans were delighted to see Mike Von Erich return to the ring after a near-fatal bout with toxic shock syndrome. Dusty Rhodes captured the NWA World title from Ric Flair at Greensboro, North Carolina, the Great American Bash. Lex Luger, who dominated Florida for most of the year, lost his Southern title to Masked Superstar, but won it back just 7 days later. The Great American Bash saw the culmination of the bitter feud between Baby Doll and Jim Cornette. Months before the bash began, Cornette had jammed his handle of his tennis racket into Baby Doll's abdomen, her stomach. Here she's attacking the manager of the Midnight Express at the Philadelphia Bash. Okay, the month of August. Paul Orndorff has Hulk Hogan hung up in the ropes as a record 65,000 fans look on at the Toronto Exhibition Stadium. The best of 7 series for the U.S. title vacated when Magnum attacked NWA President Bob Geigel, ended in sweet victory for Nikita Koloff. Ric Flair began his 4th NWA World title reign by defeating Dusty Rhodes for the title in St. Louis. Harley Race captured the trophy in the WWF Sam Muchnick Superstar Elimination Tournament in St. Louis. In the month of September, Bobby Fulton laying it on Sting and Eddie Gilbert reeling in the corner, the Fantastics regained the UWF Tag Team titles. Lex Luger puts a stranglehold on Ric Flair and almost put a stranglehold on the NWA World title as he took the champion to a 60-limit draw. An angry Roddy Piper destroys the Adrian Adonis' flower shop. The month of October, Butcher Miller looks to choke Steve Keirn in a match for the U.S. Florida tag titles. The Sheepherders captured the belts from the Fabulous Ones. Black Bart is helpless to escape this hold and is helpless to keep Kevin Von Erich from taking his World Class Championship. Tragedy strikes wrestling again. The remains of Magnum TA's car tell you the grisly tale. Dark Journey grabs hold of Missy Hyatt's hair as one of the feuds of the year continue in the UWF. Colonel De Beers delivers a face-first power driver against Jimmy Snuka. The Superfly missed 2 months of action as a result of the incident in Las Vegas. The month of November. The highlight of Starrcade 86 was a scaffold match in which the Road Warriors defeated the Midnight Express. On the same card, NWA World Champion prepares to knee Nikita Koloff. Sam Houston flips Bill Dundee en route to his final victory at the Central States title tournament. It's Rule Breaker vs. Rule Breaker as Randy Savage takes control of Jake Roberts in a match aired on Saturday night's main event. Michael Hayes explains that his injured partner Terry Gordy cannot make his scheduled UWF title defense against One Man Gang. Gordy would have to forfeit the match and his championship. Okay, and finally, the month of December. As Lance Von Erich looks on, Dingo Warrior has Brian Adias in an armbar. But that didn't stop Adias and Al Madrill from taking the match and the world-class tag belts. Mid-Southern champ Jerry Lawler rubs Tommy Rich's face in the mat. Lawler won the match and the right to face AWA World Champ Nick Bockwinkel. Senior editor Bill Lapter presents the replica cup and a check for $50,000 to Steve Williams after Dr. Death defeated One Man Gang to win the PWI UWF Challenge Tournament. Rick Rude and Manny Fernandez pose with the NWA World Tag Team titles after defeating the Rock and Roll Express on TV. Memo to Kevin Von Erich: give Tony Atlas a title shot now. This basically just talks about how Brian Adias turned on Kevin Von Erich because he wanted the fame and he wanted more spotlight, and they figured Kevin should just give Tony Atlas a title shot now before Tony Atlas winds up turning on him to get a title shot. So instead of having Tony turn on him, just give him a title shot face to face. Okay, Ric Flair, they don't come any tougher than Dick Murdoch. And Ric Flair is just talking about how tough Dick Murdoch is. So. An unexpected AWA classic, Curt Hennig gives Nick Bockwinkel the match of his life. I'm not sure if this was the match they had in December where they went to that time limit draw. But it was a real good match. Interview with Tommy Rich, and he's talking about his feud with Jerry Lawler. And it'll be him and Austin Idol's feud with Jerry Lawler. Got the official ratings. Top 10 ratings. Number 1, the NWA World Champ Ric Flair. Number 2, the WWF World Champion Hulk Hogan. Number 3, United States Heavyweight Champion Nikita Koloff. Number 4, the WWF Intercontinental Champion Randy Savage. Number 5, the Southern Champion Lex Luger. Number 6, the AWA World Champion Nick Bockwinkel. Number 7, the World Class Champion Kevin Von Erich. Number 8, Jake Roberts. Number 9, Terry Gordy. And number 10, Dusty Rhodes. Top tag teams: number 1, the Road Warriors. Number 2, the Rock and Roll Express. Number 3, the NWA World Tag Team Champions Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude. Number 4, the UWF Tag Team Champions Hacksaw Duggan and Terry Taylor. Number 5, the Hart Foundation. Number 6, the U.S. Tag Team Champions Barry Windham and Ronnie Garvin. Number 7, the Fantastics. Number 8, the Midnight Rockers. Number 9, Rick Martel and Tom Zink. And number 10, the World Class Tag Team Champions, Brian Diaz and Al Madrill. This continuation of the mailbag. The Tyler, and they're talking about Lex Luger coming to the World Championship Wrestling area and talking about joining the Horsemen. Okay, scrapbook, talking about things that happened in March and April of 1977. There's a picture of Fritz Von Erich putting the iron claw hold on Dory Funk Jr. Picture of the Briscoes. Picture of Bob Backlund. Talking about things that happened in March and April of 1982. Inquiring reports where they're just, telling, oh, this is still the continuation of them talking about the AWA, whether it has world title if it should keep its world title status or not. It was pretty split on here. Some people said, yeah, they should keep it. Some said no. But they still had their down period was really in by 1988. That was really pretty much done for. There's the Von Erich and Atlas story, continuation of the Von Erich Tony Atlas story. Continuation of the Flair versus Murdoch story. And continuation of the Bockwinkel versus Hennig story. Okay, that was a review of Sports Review Wrestling, April 1987. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again next time.